What's going on? Welcome to the video. In this one, we're talking about how to grow on Instagram without using hashtags. So if that's something you're looking to do, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Yes, it is true. I'm
going to grow my Instagram account without using hashtags.
Thousands of people have done it, and I am going to do it. I need
Good video guide.
And I have a great one.
Ben explains it all in this video.
If you're new to the channel, my name is Ben and I'm a social media strategist. On this channel, I post weekly videos to help people like you grow on platforms like Instagram. So if that's something you're looking to do, click the subscribe button and then hit the bell button as well. So hashtags are one of the tools that Instagram gives you to attract a target audience to your content. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of people out there that don't want to use them, or they complain when they see other accounts that are growing quickly and not using them. I've gotten a ton of messages like this with people sending me an account being like, well, they're not using hashtags and they're growing. Why do I have to use them? And it's always happening for a few specific reasons, which we're going to cover in this video to explain why these accounts can grow without tags, and then also help you if that's what you're trying to do as well. The first way you can do this is by building an audience on external platforms like YouTube or TikTok. And I said these two in particular because it's a little easier to gain traction and build a following as a small channel or page over on these platforms. And then if you build a great relationship with your followers, you can migrate them over to Instagram. And this is one strategy that I've used with great success. The majority of my Instagram followers have come from YouTube. And I so often get chirped or made fun of by people who are trolling me saying, why don't you have more Instagram followers, seeing as you work with Instagram so often? And that is true and a valid chirp, but I spend most of my time growing other people's pages or pages that make me money, but it's a valid chirp. But then I'm still growing every single day on Instagram from the traffic I get from YouTube and TikTok. So that speaks to the effectiveness of growing on other platforms to also grow on Instagram. But on that note, I am becoming far more consistent in providing value over on Instagram. So if you're not following me there yet, go do so. There is a link in the description box. I'll see you over there. And if you ever want to get in contact with me, that's the fastest way to do so. Send me a DM. The second way you can grow on Instagram without using hashtags is to take more of an old school approach, and that's actually to get traditional press. That might be your local newspaper, your local news station, or blogs. And these publications typically don't have huge audiences, but those that do read or consume their content are heavily invested. So they're far more engaged in the content and far more likely to actually come over to Instagram and convert into followers. And the best thing about all of these examples that I just mentioned is that all of these publications are starved for content and they're always under pressure to get more out there. So if you reach out to the right person and frame your story in a compelling and easy to write way, they are very likely to say yes. You will be surprised how many say yes, especially if you make their job very easy. And this is another one that I've had great success with. I was first featured in the national news, which then got picked up by some smaller outlets, which resulted in hundreds of free followers on Instagram just from these outlets sharing my story. But with that being said, I would recommend taking a total opposite approach. Instead of trying to go for the national outlets, start with something smaller. Start with your local newspaper or a smaller blog, get featured in that, and then use that as leverage to then send to bigger and bigger publications. And because it's already been written, every step that you go beyond, you're making the next writer's job easier, increasing the likelihood that they will say yes. Trust me, this is not time wasted. You'll get more yeses than nos, and you'll be genuinely surprised. So start with something small and then scale up, and get tons of free organic traffic to your Instagram. And obviously, with that being said, make sure to include your Instagram in whatever feature you're getting and let them know that you are very active over there and that you want to send people over there so they actually come and check you out. But it's a very effective and free way to grow on Instagram. And also it's pretty sweet getting featured in things because you can also put that on your Instagram or wherever else you want. It's pretty sweet. The third way you can do this is through collaborations on Instagram. It's always a good idea to connect and engage with pages that are trying to serve a similar audience to you, but you can take it one step further and create a true win-win relationship by collaborating. And that's a really important thing to consider here. You don't necessarily need to be the exact same kind of page. You need to be trying to reach the same kind of person. So for example, if you're a local business, it may make sense to collaborate with another local business that has nothing to do with your field because your audiences are in alignment and you're actually helping each other out simultaneously. Get creative here and think of pages that align with the audience that you currently have and that you're trying to build. Make a huge list of pages that fall into this list and then reach out to them explaining how this is a win-win for both sides and make it as easy as possible for them and as much of a no-brainer as possible. A lot will say no, but some will say yes. And as long as you're focusing on the audience piece, it is a true win-win. So the fourth way isn't a strategy that you can use, unfortunately, but it's one that I wanted to include in this video because it's oftentimes the reason as to how pages can grow without using tags at all. Because Instagram is very much authority driven at this point, but it's hard to build that authority or get that trust in Instagram if you're just starting off today in 2021. But that wasn't always the case. If you started even a few years ago on Instagram, it was substantially easier to get that authority and build an audience far faster. So a lot of the pages that you're seeing continue to grow and not use hashtags at all, they built that authority when it was easier to do so on Instagram. So that may be the answer to your question as to how they're growing without them. They may already have the trust and the authority in the eyes of Instagram, so they get more benefit of the doubt and they get more push for their content, especially if it's good content. But before you go cry yourself to sleep, it is still totally possible to get that authority and that trust with Instagram today, and I'll explain how a little later. If you've taken anything from this video so far, please take 2 seconds and smash the like button down below. You'll get yourself 7 years of good luck on Instagram just for doing it. Another way you can grow on Instagram is through paid ads on the platform. And I only really recommend going this route if you have an existing business or something to sell, so you can actually rationalize the expense as a business expense. But ads can be a very powerful way to grow on Instagram while also growing your business. A few quick tips for running successful Instagram ads is to not just use the boost post button right on Instagram. Take the time to make a Facebook ads manager account. It allows you to target far more deeply and keep track of a ton more things, which will allow you to conduct different split tests to really test different things to get the right package that works for what you're trying to do. And those different things that you're gonna wanna split test is gonna be the creative, so the visual that is included with the ad, the targeting, so who it's being shown to, and then the copy, which in this case would be the caption of the post for your ad. With ads, you can't expect massive results overnight unless you have a massive budget. But if you do have a business, this can be a great way to grow your business and Instagram at the same time, especially if you do different split tests. You can get very successful ads as long as you're patient and diligent. So I mentioned a little earlier how Instagram is very much authority driven today. And what that means is since there's less overall reach to go around, they're very particular and picky with who they give it to. And that's largely based on authority and basically their trust they have in those pages. And they base this trust on the data that they collect when users see your content. And hashtags are one of the places where your content can show up, which allows them to collect data, making hashtags a friend of yours. But even if you don't use hashtags, and even if you have a small following, if the user feedback that they get from your content is overwhelmingly positive, they will push your content further. Meaning it's still possible to grow as a small page and get on the explore page without using hashtags at all and grow rapidly from doing so. And one page in particular that did this as of late is called Visualize Value. This is a page that is in the business or mindset niche, and they didn't use any hashtags whatsoever, barely at all. And they grew their account rapidly, very, very quickly, and built a huge name for themselves on Instagram. And they did this through building the trust and authority with Instagram through what I call the 1% strategy. So their content is so unique. It is a new, fresh spin on a very saturated niche. And because of that, everybody who saw it deeply resonated with it, giving Instagram that great data, which told them to push it further, even though they didn't use tags and even though they started off with a small audience. So the fastest way that you can do this for yourself is to do exactly what Visualize Value did and put yourself in that 1%. Find a very unique way to offer the kind of content that you currently are that isn't like the masses, that isn't like everybody else. Stand out and Instagram will reward you for doing so. And use Visualize Value as a case study. Go look at them as an example because they were able to do this so successfully just because they were breaking the mold. So many people are doing the exact same thing that if you are unique and a fresh approach to a similar kind of content, even in a super saturated niche, you can grow extremely quickly on Instagram. You just need to stand out. And this is obviously easier said than done, but with some thought, effort, and practice, you can figure out a really unique way to put spins on your content and allow yourself to stand out. And this is gonna be the fastest way that you can build that authority that I've mentioned so many times and grow rapidly on Instagram with or without hashtags. So 1% content is gonna be the fastest way to build that authority and trust within Instagram. But the other approach you can take is simply by showing up very consistently and grinding out and earning that trust. And what I mean by that is doing everything that Instagram cares about consistently. So that means posting in a specific niche for a specific kind of people, doing so consistently, interacting with your audience, and doing this over a long period of time. This is a far slower burn, but it can allow you to build that trust over time and start getting on the explore page. And that's when you'll know when you've reached some level of authority in the eyes of Instagram, is when your content starts to hit the explore page consistently. Because there aren't that many places for content to show up on Instagram, and the biggest driver of growth is going to be the explore page, but that is all regulated by Instagram. So they're only gonna put accounts on there that they trust and that they think their users will benefit from and love. So ideally you do a bit of both. You get yourself in that 1% of content being very unique and highly valuable in a fresh way, as well as show up consistently and do the things that Instagram really cares about. But you can do either and you'll still get to that point eventually. But obviously the 1% is gonna be substantially faster, and that's what I would love for you to focus on. But naturally a combination of the two will give the best results for you. So if you're looking for any more help with growing on Instagram, I've linked my free Instagram checklist in the description box and the pinned comment that'll help you out a ton. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you never miss one of my Instagram videos. Also, you need to watch this video that's about to pop up because it'll help you grow on Instagram.